Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the STEAM train. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and it's good to see you guys again. My name is Mr. Dorian with New Minds, and we have an awesome lesson today. Before we get to that, don't forget to check out newminds.tv for all of our other awesome lessons. So after you finish this video, go check it out, especially if you want more. Our wall is getting full of all of our awesome projects, so I'm excited to see what you guys end up making and which lessons you enjoy the most. Now today we have a little bit of an illusion in front of us. If I take this apart, all it is two pieces of Legos and some strings attached to it. Now this is an illusion because strings should only pull things, but it's going to look like they're pushing. Oh, let me fix it. It is just Lego, so it is fragile. It's going to look like it is pushing up, just like this. So you can see, it's hard to balance on my hand, but you can see that these strings, they're very tight, and when I touch them they do move, but they're pushing, and that shouldn't be how strings work. So I'm going to set this over here. Now this is called a tensegrity. They're pretty cool, and they're basically optical illusions. We're going to talk about how this is really working later, but first let's see all of our supplies, and we're going to see what we're going to use this idea for. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart so it doesn't break. It looks like we have a hanger that doesn't have the hook on it anymore. If you have a plastic hanger that's already broken, that's perfect for this. It's saving something from being thrown away. I have some string. I have some different string. I've got something heavy to be a weight. This is my box of crowns. I've got some duct tape, some regular tape, scissors, string, and this is just going to be for demonstration. It's a little sticky suction cup arrow. So string is pretty cool. String uses a force called tension. I'll show you an example of what I mean by that, but tension means it has to have force on both sides of the string in order to do something and in order to move something. So let's take this rope for example. If I just hold it loosely and I put something on it, nothing's really going to happen. It's still loose, it's probably going to fall off. If I pull one side, it's just going to kind of stay a little tighter. But if I pull both sides, all of a sudden it's tight. If I pull one, it pulls my other hand, and they pull it back and forth, and it's going to have tension in it. Now tension's a little bit different than a rubber band. Rubber bands can change their length. When you stretch them, they get longer. A string does not stretch. No matter how hard I pull this, it's not going to magically get longer. It's going to get as far as it can, and then it will be done moving. Remember, you need force on both sides. If I pull on one side, it's never going to get fully tense. If I pull on no sides, nothing's going to happen. I have to pull on both. Now these are pretty cool, but they can only deal with pulling. Both ends have to pull away from each other. If I push a rope from both sides, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to jiggle around in the air. If I put it under this weight, which is my box of crowns, and I try and push the box of crowns with the string, nothing is going to happen. But when I pull, you can see that there's tension now, and I can pull the box of crowns across the table. Tension is a really cool force of physics, and we use it for a lot of things. Tension, when it makes vibration, and that's how string instruments work. Tension is in things like tow cables and ropes that you use to pull things out of places, or even swings like a trapeze. But tension can also be used to launch things with force. Let's take something, for example, like a bow and arrow. Bow and arrows are a curved piece of hard material and a stretched out string. If I vibrate this, it's a really low note, but you notice the string is very tense. It's getting pulled from both sides by this curved material. It's pulling out because it wants to be straight, and the string is pulling it tense. We can use this tension to launch different things. I have a smaller one that can fit this toy arrow. But how it works is that when I am adding this force, it's adding more tension. Wherever you bend a tense rope, it's going to make tension start from where the bend is and go to the end. So now we're pulling in 3 places. And if I'm just going to shoot this past my camera, I actually bounce back. But the tension is going to be released till it is straight and still pulled tight because it wants to not be longer, so it's going to shrink back. And then the tension is going to propel it forward and shoot it out away from itself. Tension can be used in all sorts of ways, and I'll explain a little bit more how our illusion works, but I'll shoot it one more time, just for fun. So when I have my arrow, if I just pull it back a little bit, nothing happens. But if I pull it back a lot, then I have some tension. So our illusion from earlier is actually just using tension. The main thing to focus on is that this small string is holding the whole thing from falling to the ground. This string is just pulling it up. It's like me holding up this box of crowns. Whenever it's just held up by one string, it wants to fall forward. But it won't fall forward because these back 2 strings have tension now. These back 2 strings keep it from falling backwards. Well, they pull it backwards, which keeps it from falling forward. All they're doing is they're pulling it from falling this way, and the bottom one is pulling it up. So there's actually no pushing going on, even though it looks like these strings are pushing it up. Tensegrities are super cool, and there's hundreds of examples of them. There's really complicated ones, really simple ones. I just thought this was a fun example I built out of Legos. If you want to see more about them, look them up. They're super cool. Tensegrity. But now, it's time for our project. Now I'm going to show you how to use tension and this broken hanger you would have thrown away to make your own bow and arrow. It's actually pretty simple. Step 1, you're going to need some duct tape. I just have this shiny silver duct tape, so it's what I'm going to use. You're going to take your hanger, and you're actually going to put some duct tape on it to make it stronger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start wrapping my duct tape around my hanger just to make it a little bit stronger in the front. So I'm going to start in the front, and I'm going to wrap around. Make sure I don't get the duct tape stuck to itself because that will waste tape. And wrap it around the front parts. And this is just going to make it just a little bit stronger. My tape's getting stuck a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just do your best, not somebody else's best. Keep wrapping around. And this is just the front piece. It's going to make it extra strong. I'm going to do one more. Well, we'll do one more. And then when you're done, you can cut or tear your duct tape. And now we have the front part of our bow and arrow. It is now nice and strong. It also covers up the sharp piece because if you broke your hanger in a way that's sharp, you want to make sure to cover that up. Now the next thing we need, of course, is the tension. And that's where our string is going to come in. Thinner string is going to work better because it's going to carry more tension. Bigger string, especially like rope, is going to be a lot harder to make tense. So using a smaller string is much better. So I'm going to use this embroidery thread. I'm going to find the end of my string, which I seem to have lost. There it is. Get a piece that is longer than the bow and arrow. There we go. I'm going to cut it. Now I have my long piece of string and my bow to use. Now I'm going to find a way to tape it around the back here. So I'm going to tape it on very tight. I'm going to tape one side on first, just to make sure it's where I want it. And I'm going to tape the string in place. And then just for good measure, I'm going to tie a knot in it, just to be extra sure. So first I'm going to tie this knot in the place I want it. You don't want it to overlap this back piece of plastic, because then it will just get in your way. There we go, tying a knot. Now that I have it in the right place, I'm going to duct tape it down to the hanger and make sure it stays there. This is the most important part because if your tape comes up, it is no longer a tense string. It needs to have somewhere pulling on it. It needs to have force applied to it. And I'm going to double tape it just to be sure. There we go. And now I'm going to pull it tight. Make sure it's very tight. And I'm going to tape the first side, wrap it around, and then tape the back side. Remember, the important thing is that this string has tension. That is the most important part, and that's the force we're learning about to make this bow and arrow work. So pull it tight, not super tight, but tight enough that it stays straight all by its own. Then you can go ahead, wrap the string around, tape it on the back side. I'm going to wrap it around and tape it again, just to be sure it does not come off, because this is going to be a strong force on it. There we go. So now, we actually have our bow and arrow. I can pull the string back, and it will shoot off. Let me find where my arrow went from earlier. It shot back at me, but I forgot where it went. Let me see where it went really quick. There we go. Now that I have my bow and arrow, I can go ahead and put it on the string, pull it back until I have some tension, and then I can shoot it. And now I have made my very own bow and arrow. Thank you guys for tuning in with another Real Inspired Learning with New Minds. Don't forget to keep practicing your passions until they become your talents. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.